Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of Big Sound Small Town, the podcast that spotlights the talented and diverse musicians in small towns and communities. This season we're branching out to include the community of people who make it possible for musicians to be able to perform their music, the producers, the recording engineers, the venue owners, and many others, and as always, the small town musicians. Remember, small town doesn't mean small talent. Hear their stories. Today on Big Sound Small Town, my guest is one of the young guns. He's a guitarist, he's a singer, and he's a front man. His name is J.T. Fitch, and I'm sure I'm glad to meet him. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. I'm glad to be here.
All right, let's start this thing out. Everyone who's listening already knows you're a fine guitar player. So, how did that start for you?
Well, I started very young. I started out as a drummer, and I was about 4 years old and just beating around on the drums. And I was a huge Elvis fan, so that was my first big influence as far as somebody already famous or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was about 8 years old. I picked around on a guitar here and there, but I didn't really take it seriously until I was about 8 years old when I saw my stepfather, Shan London, play guitar, and I said, that's what I want to do. So that's when I really started taking it serious. I was about 8 or 9 years old.
What did you start doing? Did you get your chord book or?
No, I honestly, it was before YouTube.
Right, yeah.
All that stuff. It was about 2001, so, I had to learn just like all the older guys.
Right.
I had to learn from the radio, records or CDs at the time.
Yeah.
And then DVD came out, and so I was able to pause, zoom in, check out, what cats like Jimmy Page and Clapton and guys like that were doing. And so that's sort of how I started and really tried to make it my own.
Right.
And I took lessons for a very short time with Steve Edmondson.
Yeah.
When I was real young, and then I quit and I just did it all on my own, and so I'm pretty much self-taught.
Oh yeah, well, there's a lot to be said for that because it does kind of help you develop your own style.
It does, it really does. I think it really helps bring what you have to say to the table even more and make it more unique.
I'm taking you spent hours of time doing this, didn't you?
I did. Yep. Yes, sir. I played hours on end, brother. From when school let out, I was playing that guitar till time to go to bed. In the summertime, that's all I did was play guitar.
That's what it takes. People don't see that part.
Yeah.
They see you stand on stage and they assume that it just happened.
You don't learn it overnight.
Yeah.
You really don't. And I think anybody can learn to play an instrument, but I think that a lot of it comes from your inner being and sort of God-given in a way.
Yeah.
And I really believe that. But I don't consider myself a great guitar player. I just do what I do, and I do the best of my ability,
Right.
And always tried to be myself.
Now, when you started playing, what were you listening to? Has it always been metal, rock and roll?
No. My mother and my real father, Thomas Fitch, my biological father, they were huge Elvis fans. And so growing up, Elvis Presley was the first big guy that I really took a listen to. And his guitar player, Scotty Moore, really influenced me.
Yeah.
And James Burton.
Yeah.
And then my dad introduced me to Chicago, Terry Cass.
Yeah.
And then my stepfather, Shannon London, played a huge part in this. That's when he introduced me to Judas Priest, Van Halen, cats like that, man. Jimi Hendrix. Matter of fact, guy who introduced me to Jimi Hendrix was Phil Weathers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Phil's a good buddy. I ain't seen him in a while, but I went to church with him, and he bought me my very first Jimi Hendrix CD I ever had.
That Jimi Hendrix is a life-changing.
And yes, sir, he changed it for me, but
changed it for me too.
Then it was Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton was really my number one guy there for a long time, and then of course Southern rock, Skinner.
Right.
All that kind of stuff really was a big influence.
You live in the South. I mean, that's got to be
part I was love Blackfoot, Molly Hatch, and stuff like that. So that was my early introduction to the instrument and blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Right, Stevie Ray.
That was my early stuff, and it wasn't until, like I said later, when I wanted to challenge myself more and got more into cats like Randy Rhoads, people like that.
Now, did you start to singing stuff with the Elvis, or has
yeah.
that always? I mean, that's always been a part of it too.
I started singing ever since I can remember. I've been singing, whether it was good or not, I don't know. But Elvis was definitely the first guy I channeled singing, and then I just been singing ever since. And singing various different forms of music, and I was in the chorus. All through school, junior high and high school. I was in King's Review in high school, show choir.
Well, that helps a lot.
It did, and I wasn't the best at reading music. And my teachers could see that I could do it. I learned to read a little bit, but I'm not very schooled in reading. It comes from the heart, brother. You know?
I do understand that totally. Well, there's plenty of people that can read every note on the page. Just like a book and take it away and they can't play a note.
Well, I tell people I play like a blues player in a sense that everything I play comes from the heart.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And whether I'm playing metal or country or whatever.
And then now, how did you were playing all this stuff, then how did you get yourself to a band?
Well, I was messing around. I was in junior high school. And there's a guy named David Green. He was a custodian at the junior high school, and he had long hair, and he's just cool looking. And I said, "This guy just looks cool." And he was good friends with some neighbors of ours, and they had a New Year's party, and he was picking an acoustic guitar. It was blues, and I was like, man, this guy's just cool, I want to play with this guy. So I kept hounding him every day after school. He'd be doing custodian work, and I kept, come on, man, jam with me, brother, jam. And one day he called me up and said, all right, I'm coming over to your house. We're going to jam. And so then that's when Southern Breeze happened, just a little garage band. Me, David Green, and Sonny Jackson on drums, and no bass player. And so,
those guys are overrated.
Yes, they are. LOL.
Since I'm one of them, yeah.
And I really wanted a bass player, but it's really hard to find a really good bass player, especially back then, because I didn't know a whole lot of musicians, and
being young and playing.
It was very hard to.
It takes a while.
Yeah. So then after that, Scott Sanders, a guy I went to high school with, and he kept hounding me wanting to jam, and I went over and jammed with him, then the next thing I know, he's in Southern Breeze, and so it's me, David Scott, and we had various different drummers and in and out kind of deal.
A lot of pieces, yeah.
Then it started to form, and what later became Southern Experience.
What were you playing? What kind of music at that time were you playing when y'all
Mostly
started?
Southern rock.
Okay.
We were heavily on Southern rock and blues and stuff like that. And then, David left, and so it was just me and Scott. So then Ronnie Humphreys came into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
And then his boy John Humphreys was on drums, and then that's when it became Southern Experience. And then John left the band and joined the military, and then Nikhil Wallace came into the fold.
Nikhil.
So we really had a tight thing going, and we played for a very long time. And I'd say, we played about almost 10 years together, I'd say, if I had to guess. We played a long time and played a lot of places, been around different states, and had a lot of original material. And
was that still Southern rock for the most part?
It started that way, and of course we played covers and stuff, but I think we were mostly Southern rock based, but we had a lot of 4-part harmony. Every one of us sang, and so like we were the Southern rock journey, if you will.
That's a good analogy.
And then it sort of became more in the new country flair. But we just had our own thing, man, and and then the typical story is kind of fizzled out. Differences, everybody had differences, and it's like a bad marriage. But I still love those guys,
right.
And I wish them nothing but the best. And but I do miss playing with them from time to time.
Right.
I do. We had some good times together.
So when that goes, what happens?
After that, man, I was kind of lost. I didn't know really what to do, how to, where to go, and I never stopped playing, But
right.
It wasn't until Michael Tracy called me up and asked if I'd do some fill-in gigs. His lead guitar player at the time was having some issues or something, and so I filled in for him. And I knew Michael previously. We done some work with him. Southern Experience did, so I already knew Michael.
Right.
So he knew my playing and everything, and so I helped him out. Next thing I know, he enters a contest to open up for Bon Jovi. Well, we win, so we're opening up for Bon Jovi as a Michael Tracy group.
Right.
So that was a cool
I'm
experience.
Sure it was.
And the next thing I know, we're opening up for Poison and Jackal 2
Right.
nights. One in Raleigh and one in Charlotte, the PNC Pavilion. And we just, and I played with Michael here and there, but that was it. And then after that, I played with Rick DeLozier,
Yeah.
a good buddy of mine. He called me up and said, "Hey, dude, you want to play guitar and sing, and me and you go back and forth on lead and stuff." And so I entered the DeLozier band, and with James Matheny on drums and Boo Knipe on bass, and I enjoyed that a lot, man. It was the first time I ever got to play with another fellow lead player.
Yeah.
And swap back and forth, and
Right.
me and Rick just had a chemistry. And then after that group disbanded, and me and James Matheny didn't want to quit playing, so we created the band we have today, which is Dangerous Ways.
Yeah.
Just a trio with me on guitar and vocal, and James Matheny on drums, and Art Mooney on bass. So
The future's looking pretty bright. I heard you guys, and
Yeah.
it sounded really good.
I appreciate it. We still trying to build it
Right.
one piece at a time, and I'm really wanting to get some original material out soon, and
Right.
that's a process.
And this is a rocking outfit here.
Oh yeah,
It's past Southern rock.
yes sir, it is. We play a variety of stuff, anything from Hall & Oates to Quiet Right, but we are very versatile band, but I'd say at our core we are a hard rock band, metal band, and that's something I always wanted to do. Is because I'm a rock and roller by heart, and it's so hard around this county, especially about 5 years ago, to have a rock band.
True.
And now it seems like, people really loving it because it's something different, and
it is making a comeback. It really is.
I think so. I really do. And places that I never thought would let us play hard rock, metal, or whatever, are loving it.
That's great.
So,
how old are you now?
I'm 27.
27.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sir.
future looks bright. Future looks real bright. All right, for the musicians and guitar and nerds, I saw a ton of guitars on stage.
Oh yeah.
You got a go-to that you like?
Yes, sir. For years, I have been a Les Paul guy, but that'd be my first choice.
And I saw it was running through a Marshall.
I'm a big Marshall guy, Black Star. Those are the two amps I really dig.
Right.
But all through Southern Experience, I played Marshalls, and I have a #1 Les Paul that I play. I've played various other guitars, but that's always been my go-to. And here recently, I've been playing Marshall and Black Stars, and playing that my #1 Les Paul. I got a ES355 hollow body I've been playing.
Oh, that's a nice looking guitar.
Yeah, and a Hamer Daytona is basically a Strat. That's basically my deal with a couple pedals and nothing too fancy.
Right.
Just turn it to 10 and go,
Yeah, and actually, it is one of the cool things about being able to play it now. You can go out with a combo amp instead of having to have the big heads and all.
Now, back when I was in Southern Experience in Delosier, out there for a while, especially in Southern Experience, I was playing a half stack Marshall, but and then with Delosier, I was playing pretty much a half stack. But with this outfit, a lot of times I just take in two combos, man, and they work out great. Still get a big tone, and I'm all about a big fat tone, man. That's what I like.
Being the one guitarist,
you got to have a fat sound.
You do have to have a fat sound.
You got to sound like two guitar players up there.
True.
Kind of the Van Halen approach to
Right.
it, and so
it's
small band, big sound.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, ZZ Top. I mean, there you go.
Oh yeah.
It's
you got to have that fat tone.
You do.
I never was a twangy player.
Right.
I love those guys. I love chicken picking, hybrid picking, and Telecaster just never felt great. I've only played maybe a couple that I really like, but I always go back to that Les Paul, man. That's my deal,
You can't go wrong with the Les Paul.
I can't get away from it.
Is this a one with the chambered bodies, or is this solid?
It's solid, brother.
Yeah,
it's solid as rock.
Yeah. That's a big load to carry.
It's not too bad.
That's good.
But that's my sound, man.
Well, so what's the future holding for you?
Right now, man, I'm just really wanting to get us really booked solid, and that's always a constant, and I'm really wanting to get serious on some original material and put out, originals, and that's kind of my #1 thing right now, and staying busy, man, just trying to get us to where we're playing all the time.
So that's your Dangerous Ways is your focus right now, right?
Yes,
I mean, you're not playing any on the side with.
I'm doing my acoustic shows by myself here and there, and whenever Michael Tracy needs me to play guitar for him, I'll go out with him.
So you're staying busy.
I am. I'm trying to stay as busy as I can. I'd like to be busier, but you know how it is.
I do. Yes, I do.
But I've always had a gig, so I know I will till I die.
And I take it this is what you're going to do for your life.
Oh yes, sir. I don't care if I'm,
you wind up my
70
age.
years old, and I mean I'm one of those guys. I play till the end, and
I do.
I'd love to get out to Nashville and get on that scene, but until then, I'm hitting it heavy with what I got. And,
well, it's
keeping my feet in the water, so to speak.
You seem to be in a pretty good place for a young guy. You got a lot of talent. You got a lot of room.
Well, I appreciate
a lot of
that.
Place to go with it.
I appreciate it. I've always just tried to be as versatile as I can, and that's something that my parents always instilled in me. Is the more versatile you are, the more work you'll have. And
they were right about that.
I try to add a lot of technique to my playing that shows that. So.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on here and doing this.
Well,
this has been.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
It's we don't have a lot of young working musicians in Cleveland County these days, and it's good to see that the talent continues on.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I have to really thank my parents for that.
Yeah. Parents. Parental support is everything to a musician.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been blessed to have some very supporting parents.
Yes, you are.
And colleagues, older fellas that's been doing this a long time.
That is good that you will work with older people.
Yeah, I mean, like Rick DeLozier and my drummer, James Matheny, and Art Mooney. And Johnny McKinney's, I want to shout out to Johnny McKinney, and he's been a great mentor to me, and looked up to him as a player, and he really inspired me too. Alan Biggerstaff.
Oh yeah, Alan Biggerstaff.
I was very fortunate. I was the last guy to jam with Alan before he passed, and
that
was a very big feat for me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man, I'm just keep on trucking on, man. That's all I can do.
Well, I look forward to seeing what the future holds for you. And again, thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.